Good morning, YouTube. I am in a particularly good mood this morning because something fantastic has occurred here in Washington, D.C. that we should all celebrate. But let me give you a little context. In every great conflict, there comes a turning point where the momentum changes from one side to the next. In the Pacific War, it was the Battle of Midway. In the European theater, it was the Battle of Stalingrad. And today, in the shadow wars of Washington, D.C., a turning point was reached when Mr. Awan was arrested trying to flee the country at Dulles Airport a few days ago. Now, you might not know who Mr. Awan is, but I predict that you will get to know him intimately in the weeks and months to come, because Mr. Awan is going to be the key to the downfall of Hillary Clinton. You see, Mr. Awan and his family are what I refer to as shadow warriors, and they worked for the Democratic Party, and their job was to obtain intelligence for the Democratic Party that they could use to further their political aims and also to intimidate their political opponents. And now that Mr. Awan is under arrest and facing significant jail time, there's a real possibility that he is going to turn on his handler. And who was Mr. Awan's handler? None other than a congressman from Florida by the name of Wasserman Shultz. If you're not familiar with her, she is the main character in the enforcement end of the Democratic Party. She's the one that spearheaded the screwing of Bernie Sanders in the primary and has been very useful in intimidating the local law enforcement. But if Mr. Awan turns on her and exposes her role in significant legal activities, her title of Congresswoman will not be able to shield her from the consequences of her actions. And if she can be turned, well, then her master will have to face justice. And her master are the Clintons. Now, I try to keep these videos short, so I'm not going to sit there and get into too much details. But to summarize, here in Washington, there are what I call shadow wars fought all the time outside the legal framework and outside the view of the public. These type of activities involved in these shadow wars can range from anywhere from simple information gathering to murder. And Mr. Awan was involved in those shadow wars. And now, if he can be persuaded to tell his tales, then the American public will get a very rare look into how Washington really works. And for me, I'm very excited about that, because I'm convinced that if the American people did know about this, that they would demand actions be taken, and that the people responsible for this corruption would be held accountable. And I think that that would be a great thing for the American people, and I am very confident that this is exactly what's going to happen. So there you go. I hope that what I said makes sense and that you enjoyed this, and have a good day.